Aloha, friends and neighbors. Rollin Frost here. I got a show for you. We're going to cover the third week in July 2017 in the Sky Mirror. Here we go. This is program 1076. 1076 weeks I have served you and never missed one. What's important this week, what you're going to notice, I think, most, well, you had a full moon on Pluto, so it's a little panicky, eek a bug, but Mars is moving to square Uranus. Now, Uranus has to do with everything from computers to air conditioners to, one thing I noticed right away, airplanes don't do so well above 118 degrees. The air is thin, so they can't take off. So we just had a few days when they had to ground the airplanes. But in general, computers and engines and a lot of things that go around are going to have trouble with heat. Too much heat. It's too hot. Yeah. So here's the way it looks. Got Venus trining Jupiter, sextiling Mercury. There's a lot of nice soft talk around. And Mars kind of moving off from the sextile to Venus. The sun's going through the last part of Cancer, and at what point it squares Uranus at 28 degrees. That's about 6 days, 7 days from where you are now. It's going to be interruptions, yes. And of course, that full moon on Pluto gives us a panicky time when there's going to be things like volcanoes and terrorists, and we call it eek a bug when Pluto gets set off by a full moon. That's your reptile brain, the brain stem and the little bulb on the end where all the reptile instincts are. So we call it eek a bug. It's flight or fight, little moments of panic. So I've marked those for you here on the chart. Looking at it day by day, let's see how it works. If you're on the Thursday night show on July 13th, there we go, you got a square to Saturn late, about 11, 12 o'clock. Not too much fun. There is a trine to the sun. You feel like getting stuff done, but there's not enough time, not enough money. Friday morning, here's a nice trine to Mars. Get out and do something physical. Seems to work good till somewhat after noontime, about 1 or 2 o'clock. The moon shifts into Aries. Starts to feel a little different, doesn't it? More energy. But look out, right here on Saturday, July 15th, lies the Pluto square. Pluto with the full moon on it starts kind of nice. Here's a sextile to Venus. It's sexy Saturday morning. Stay in bed late. Ha ha ha. In the afternoon, here's a nice trine to Mercury. Kids are happy, but everybody's overdoing it. Here's the opposition to Jupiter. And Jupiter is just too much clowning around. Too much noise. It's all those rich people trying to grab everything. Finally, here's Pluto. Pluto comes in about 9, 10 o'clock. The square to Pluto. Eek a bug. Panicky. So Saturday night, there's problems due to this Pluto thing. And you'll feel a little panicky every now and then. I actually get bugs. Sometimes it's geckos, but mostly it's bugs. So, yeah. Sunday morning, well, here's a trine to Saturn. And, whoops, didn't watch the screen. There we are. So things settle down a bit Sunday morning, but it's not easy because the sun is in square here just before lunch, around lunchtime. And here's Mars in square. And here's the conjunction to Uranus. So here's this Uranus-Mars square going off a little early on Sunday. And heat problems knock out things A lot of my equipment doesn't operate very well when there's too much heat. You know, metals get bigger and expand and don't make contacts like they should or something. I don't know. Whatever it is, Sunday is chaotic, and you feel like you're all alone sometimes, on Sunday. On Monday, the moon moves into Taurus, feels a lot better, a lot more mellow. Here's a nice sextile to Neptune. You regain some faith here Monday night after dinner. And here, late Monday night, actually Tuesday morning, about 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning, is a trine to Pluto. So we got control of things again after that horrible Saturday night, which may have sirens in it, and bugs, and panickiness. It settles down and we find out how the bugs got in the house. Tuesday morning, I can fix that screen. There's problems with Mercury in the middle of Tuesday. Walking, talking, communicating is difficult. But we can get things done. Here's a nice sextile to the Sun and Mars Tuesday afternoon and evening. And this is the time to get out and get physical. On Wednesday, the moon has moved into Gemini. The vibes change again. And this is an interesting square to Neptune. Now, Neptune's not having fun, but Jupiter is. Remember Jupiter and Neptune on a seesaw. Neptune is what the Trump care and Obamacare and, you know, all the doctors and the prescriptions. Jupiter is the rich people. Who gets it all? The rich, Jupiter, or the doctors, drug people, Neptune? So here it's the rich people. And, you know, there should be some love around here. You know, late Wednesday night, early Thursday morning. Because there's a nice conjunction to Venus. And Venus is always nice. You'll see it early in the morning, a few hours before the sun comes up. There'll be the moon on Venus. A nice time. So stay in bed Thursday night. Thursday morning, Saturn shows his head here on Thursday. And when he does, everything gets colder and dried out, and there's not enough money, and it gets kind of fearful and scary. But there's a sextile to Uranus Thursday night, and common sense clicks in, and it all seems a little better. On Friday, July 21st, we're moved into Cancer, and we're starting to feel that, eek, a bug. You know, it's going to come up real strong here Friday night. Now, you could get sucked into this because here's Neptune saying, come on, have a drink. You know, relax. Make yourself fuzzy. Look out, man, because this is setting you up. If you go out and get loaded here Friday night, you're not going to like what happens afterwards, because here's the opposition to Pluto. And Jupiter is a square, and the full moon went off here. And Friday night, Saturday morning, there's sirens. There's panicky feelings. Eek! What's going on? Is that a policeman in my rearview mirror? It goes on all the way through Saturday. On Saturday, here's a square to Uranus in the afternoon and evening. It gets better in the late evening. We have a new moon here. This is at about 1 degree of Leo. And it's not a bad new moon, all things said. It does square Uranus, though. So we're going to have trouble with electronics. Feeling of aloneness. Get those poor homeless people out of that park. Here's Mars. You know, the homeless people could fight back. Yeah, Uranus here is homeless. And they're ticked off. So they're going to fight. Upshot is, Saturday night, Sunday morning, I'll get more eek and chaos and anger. Your weekends aren't going so well. Late Sunday night, here's a sextile to Jupiter. It's about 10, 11 o'clock at night. And there's some wisdom here. Aha! Now we can relax a little bit. Feels a little better. Continues pretty much through Monday the 24th. And that's the way it is this week. Third week in July 2017. Here's a technical note. A couple days ago was at show 1073. Was going to cover the last week in June. And the sound on the public access station didn't happen very well for the first 10 minutes. So I got phone calls. I want to coach you folks a little bit because the guy who copied the show screwed up the sound here first 10 minutes. But the sound on skymirrorastrology.com/TV, where you can get my website, was fine. Also on YouTube. You YouTube me. You can get me at Astrology with Rollin Frost, and all of the shows are there, and they're the good ones. We don't mess up on there. The sound was good, so if the sound is bad on public access TV, just shift over to skymirrorastrology.com/TV, or go to YouTube and put in Astrology with Rollin Frost, or Sky Mirror Astrology, and you'll get all the shows. I just went there. Heck, those shows go back to 2014, 2013. Maybe all the shows I ever did are there. Also, on YouTube, you'll find an interesting bunch of oddball stuff that's on my website. Things about gambling, Ben Franklin, PTSD, Cross the Center Line, that's carbon monoxide, 3 different Raven shows, the USA chart, military at war in 2017, Saturn, UFOs and aliens, Donald Trump, burning trash, oh boy, what a bad thing, rediscovering Konani, a lot of interesting things that I put on there. They're on YouTube also, besides my website. Okay, here's about one prediction. Due to the new moon on May 25th, it had a line going through Hawaii. There we are. And the line was Uranus. And going through the Big Island by and large, pretty small to see here. Here we go. Now you notice this Uranus line, you can see the Big Island there, went by the far east side of the Big Island. And I said to myself, gosh, it's too early in the season for a hurricane. Uranus, what is Uranus? Maybe it's just a little windstorm, knocks some albesias down. I didn't know. But what happened was a 5.2 earthquake happened on May 9th. And then on June 21st, a 4.5 quake happened. And the place that they happened was near a volcano. When you did the chart for a volcano, sure enough, there's Uranus right at the top of the chart. So we had 2 earthquakes. No, there was no big damage. It just shocked everybody a little bit. And you can't tell the difference between an earthquake and a hurricane in a way, except they both happen. Earthquakes happen kind of sudden. So anyway, that was the May 25th prediction. Turned out to be 2 earthquakes. A short reminder, full moon on Pluto. Pluto's volcanoes. Listen, folks, we got enough volcano power on the Big Island to power the whole state. And it's safe. There's no gas in this magma. So we're not going to blow things up and spread stinky stuff all around. You can do this all with warm water. And instead we've got a whole bunch of politicians that are stuck in the old things. Folks, we need to put some studies into doing wise geothermal, non-polluting geothermal on the Big Island. Let's tap that heat. Okay, here's a short report on a fixed star, Algol. Even more, it's about 9/11. And I sent an article to Mountain Astrologer and to show them about Algol. And some editor sent it back and said, we have enough fixed star articles. But wasn't any ordinary fixed star thing. So I want to update you on Algol. A-L-G-O-L. Algol is the most demonic star in the heavens. The Chinese said stacked up bodies, and it's famous for whacking off heads, beheadings. Seen a lot of beheadings lately in the world, huh? Those planes came in and sliced, beheaded the big tower. So Algol was directly over the Twin Towers when that happens. Directly over is a really important time when things happen. The Hawaiians, they had these towers 40, 50 feet high, and they could put a string down the center, and they could get exactly what was on top, the zenith. You recall that the Egyptians have obelisks to tell where the zenith is. You know, I just used to hang a pipe on a string to tell me when the no shadow day was, when the sun was up here directly overhead. Father would come and sit with you, see? And any planet goes by directly overhead, it's there with you for a little bit. Now, a fixed star can be with you for quite a while, because it only moves 1 degree every 72 years. But here's a little more on Algol. It's red. There's only 2 red stars, Antares and Algol. They're both bad guys. Demons. Algol, beheading stacked up bodies. Here's the thing about Algol, it blinks. If you look for it in the sky, it's the eye of the Gorgon. Perseus cut off the head of the Gorgon, and one of the eyes is red, and it blinks. It's on real bright for 68 days, and then it goes real dim for 8 days, then on for 68, off for 8. So it's blinking, yeah? And one of the articles I read said that Arabic generals would wait to make sure they weren't going into this 8 days of quiet. When they made an attack, they wanted to make sure that Algol was very bright. Okay? Now, what happened is, I'm searching around for Algol stuff, and I wound up at a website called Astrology King. And son of a gun, I was impressed. Here's a guy who's got a website and a Class A astrologer, and I'm kind of impressed. Some of it is a little commercial, but you could check it out, astrologyking.com. And he's into Algol. And what does he say? He says that Algol is on President Trump's midheaven. Yeah. And and Algol conjuncting the midheaven, he says, looks like he's going to get shot in the head or the neck. Whoa. Well, I don't think he knew anything about the eclipse coming up the end of August. But nevertheless, here's an astrologer, astrologyking.com, and he knew about Algol. I'm impressed. And, wow. That's all I got to say. Actually, I got a lot more. But there was a lot of stuff happened at 9/11, including the preceding full moon, and basically oppositions to the natal Uranus. And when you look at Uranus, you know, it's in the rising sign of the U.S. It looks kind of like Twin Towers, doesn't it? And that's what got attacked. There's a commercial. I need work. Help. I'm going broke. I work cheap for the amount of work. I spend a day, sometimes 2 on every chart I do. You know, from 60 to 120 bucks or so. You can go to my website and get the details, or you could call me at 322-3584. No answer phone. If I'm not here, just keep after it. Or email me, rollinfrost@yahoo.com. You know, I may only be doing this for about another year and a half, and I'm a genius at it. So if you want to get some work done, you know, don't worry. You're going to be happy you did it. Here's a note to myself. What's it like to have your chart read? Well, first is 2-3 minutes of philosophy. You're the spirit riding in the body. The chart's on the body, not you. You, the unchangeable you inside there. First I do about 20 minutes, and I get into the natal chart. And here's Mr. Trump's natal chart. I want to find out, to me it's like a train. I want to find out what kind it is, how it's built, how it's engineered. Noticeable in Mr. Trump's chart, there's a bunch of sextiles and trines, and an opposition from the moon. And the U.S. Solar return looked like the moon Pluto was going to attack him. At any rate, there's 20 minutes out of, and then the next 30 minutes I spend on progressions. So here we're talking 20 minutes, we're talking about who you are in this incarnation. Not you, but the body. Then I'm going to spend 30 minutes on progressions, or the slow-moving stuff. The big things. It's kind of like taking a broad view on your chart. Okay? And the rest of the time on transits. So here's the way it kind of looks. Here's Mr. Trump's chart. And I would say, well, the real you is Leo. 29 Leo rising. Mars there. A warrior. In Leo, a fixed fire sign. He's really a lion. Very orange color, like they say. So Mars rising in Leo. Wow. What a powerhouse. Where's all the athletics? Now, the rising sign in the Mars has a nice sextile here to the sun. The sun sign is the many, though. Here's the boss, the father figure. He must have been well off because he's got the north node, very nurturing. And Uranus there. Uranus and the north node and the sun. So he knows a lot of technical science, common sense men. What's that? The way you do things. You copy the way your fathers do things. And father figures, coaches and bosses. And in Mr. Trump's case, these are Gemini people. The sun's in Gemini. They have Uranus talents. There's the Twitter, see? So he does things very open and honestly on the Twitter feed. I'm starting to like some of the stuff about this guy. And it opposes the moon, though. Here's mom saying, stop that twittering. See? And she's hurting. She's got the south node here. Sucks up a lot of nurturing. Taking care of the public and the group and all of that, the people and the team. Very tiring for Mr. Trump. So he's the character, how you go about doing things. That's a sun sign, Gemini. The moon sign, Sagittarius. That's his face. It's very strong. It's in the 4th house, an angular house. So he's really a homebody. He wants to stay at home. He's famous for his hotels. You know, every hotel must be his home. So here's Jupiter now. Jupiter, the great benefic. Yeah? Oh boy, he's really honest and open. Trines Uranus. What? Wow. Here's lightning bolts of truth. Come out, bang, there's a Twitter. And it's sextiles over here to the moon. The public kind of enjoys it. They're getting used to it. You know, this is a very, who'd know we're going to have a twittering president. And he's kind of a hero. What's his problems here anyway? Well, gosh, he seems to be a little, well, here's Pluto and Mercury. He doesn't always control his words and what he says. He has a lack of control over transportation, communication. And Mercury, you know, is part of his twittering, I guess. And here's Saturn and Venus. These two are 30 degrees from his sun and from his Mars. So here's Venus. Here's the beautiful girl. Here's the sister, the girlfriend. Saturn, that's the kids, rules the 5th house. Venus is the people he goes out in public. So he's got beautiful kids, goes out in public with them. When he does that, he puts the sun, the fathering, on the back burner. It's a seesaw. And he puts Mars on the back burner. He's not going to be the hero and forge ahead with his philosophy. Now he's going to kick back and do traditional things with the kids. And so, you know, this Saturn and Venus on a seesaw from the Sun, North Node, Uranus, and Mars. Boy, now you see why those beautiful kids are there. So we understand this train a little more. I don't have time. Okay, progressions, I'm looking at the big picture. I use 3, the progressed midheaven, the progressed ascendant, and the progressed sun. They all move about 1 degree per year. Here's the ascendant, 27. Wow, it sextiled his Mars 6-8 months ago. He was at his peak, and it still got to sextile his rising sign. That's still another 2.5 years from now. So he's cooking, huh? His body and his abilities. Here's the midheaven, progressed midheaven at 2 Leo. It's okay, it's not being a problem. Here's a progressed sun. Look at that, it crossed his rising sign. Whoa, what power. He gets to be the father. See, it started out here as father, and his ego was in the 10th house of career anyway. And then it went into the 11th house for about 30 years, and he was a team player. And then it went into the 12th house, and he's dealing with big institutions and foreign governments. Crossing the rising sign? Well, that was just about 10 months ago. And man, he powered up. He looks the part now. His body is strong. He is the father. He's going to be the boss. Yeah. Moon progression goes 1 degree per month. It's gone into his 12th house. His worries are about institutions. I always go through a list of the next 2 years on every chart I do. And here's all the progressions in Mr. Trump's chart for the next 2 years. And the dates of when they're exact. Put that on your wall, Mr. Trump. So I spend a half an hour on your progressions. Then I shift over to transits. Transiting planets are the planets in the sky as they are now. And they go around your chart. Now here's Mr. Trump's chart. I'm always interested first in where the problems are. Usually they're because of Saturn. Here's your Trump's chart inside, transiting planets in the sky, middle of June, outside. And look, you know, I go for Saturn first, which goes around in 28 years. And when I look for that, there it is. And it's moving backwards. And it's going to come back the end of August to 21 degrees and sit right on Mr. Trump's moon. Problem time for him. U.S. solar return had moon Pluto oppose the sun.